Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the English Podcast. My name is Adam, and I'm so glad to have all of you here with us today. Whether you're tuning in from your cozy living room, listening while commuting to work, or enjoying this podcast during your evening walk, we appreciate you spending your time with us. It's always great to connect with listeners who are excited to learn and grow.
And I'm Julia. A big warm welcome to each one of you. It's always exciting to start a new episode, especially when we know it's about a topic that can inspire and motivate people in a big way. Today's episode is going to be extra special because we're talking about something that many of us think about at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely, Julia. The new year is such an important time for reflection and planning. It feels like a fresh start, doesn't it? Like a blank page waiting to be filled with new ideas, goals, and achievements. And that's exactly why we've chosen today's topic: building a New Year's plan for personal growth.
Yes, Adam. I think the new year gives us the perfect chance to pause for a moment and think about the person we want to become. It's not just about making resolutions like, I want to lose weight, or I want to save money. It's deeper than that. It's about understanding what personal growth means to you and how you can work towards becoming the best version of yourself.
You're so right, Julia. Personal growth is about improving different areas of our lives. It could be learning a new skill, like speaking English more fluently, building better relationships with people, or even focusing on our mental and physical health. No matter what your goals are, having a clear plan for the year can make a big difference in achieving them.
That's true, Adam. And I think a lot of people get excited at the beginning of the year, but sometimes they don't know where to start. They might have big dreams, but without a proper plan, those dreams can feel overwhelming. That's why planning for personal growth is so important. It helps us break our big dreams into smaller, manageable steps.
Exactly, Julia. And today, we're here to help our listeners do just that. We're going to share simple ideas and tips on how to build a New Year's plan that is not only realistic, but also focused on personal growth. And the best part? It's going to be simple and practical, so anyone can follow along, even if you're just starting your English learning journey.
Yes, that's right. And we have a question for all of you listening today. Have you made your New Year's resolutions yet? If you haven't, don't worry. By the end of this episode, we hope you'll feel ready to set your goals and start the year with confidence. And if you've already made some resolutions, stick with us. We're going to give you tips to help you stick to them and succeed.
So let's get started. We have so much to share, and by the end of this podcast, we hope you'll feel inspired and ready to make this year your best year yet.
Grab a notebook, relax, and let's dive into the world of planning for personal growth. Together, we'll explore how to make this new year a time for positive change and progress.
Now that we've introduced the topic, let's take a closer look at personal growth. To begin with, personal growth might sound like a complicated term, but it's actually quite simple. Personal growth means improving yourself in different areas of life, whether it's your skills, habits, mindset, or relationships. It's the process of becoming a better version of yourself by making positive changes. Think of it as a journey that helps you achieve your full potential over time. It's not something that happens overnight, but rather something you work on step by step.
That's a wonderful explanation, Adam. I'd like to add that personal growth is unique for everyone. For example, some people might focus on building their confidence, while others might want to improve their physical health or learn a new skill, like speaking a new language. It's all about identifying what matters most to you and what areas of your life you'd like to enhance. The key is to focus on what truly makes you happy and fulfilled, rather than comparing yourself to others.
Exactly, Julia. And let's talk about some specific examples of personal growth goals. One common goal, especially for our listeners, could be learning English. For someone who's just starting out, improving their English skills can open up so many doors. It could help them get a better job, communicate with people from different countries, or even travel the world with more confidence. Learning a language is not only practical, but also a great way to challenge your mind and grow intellectually.
Absolutely, Adam. Another great example of personal growth is building self-confidence. Confidence is so important because it affects how we interact with others and how we feel about ourselves. For example, if someone feels shy about speaking English, they might avoid conversations or opportunities to practice. But by working on their confidence step by step, they can overcome those fears and eventually feel more comfortable expressing themselves.
That's such a good point, Julia. And let's not forget about improving health, which is another big area of personal growth. Whether it's starting a new exercise routine, eating healthier, or taking better care of your mental health, these small changes can have a huge impact on your overall well-being. For instance, regular exercise doesn't just make you stronger, it also boosts your mood and energy levels, which can help you stay motivated in other areas of your life, like learning or work.
That's so true, Adam. And one thing that makes the new year such a great time to focus on personal growth is the feeling of a fresh start. There's something about the beginning of a new year that inspires people to reflect on the past and think about what they want to achieve in the future. It's like hitting a reset button on life.
Yes, Julia. And I think that sense of renewal is really powerful. The new year gives us an opportunity to leave behind old habits or mistakes and start creating new ones. For example, if someone feels like they didn't make much progress in learning English last year, they can use the new year as a chance to set clear goals and create a better plan. It's a time to remind ourselves that it's never too late to start fresh and make positive changes.
And another great thing about starting a personal growth journey in the new year is that it aligns with the energy and motivation that many people feel during this time. It's a time when people are naturally more optimistic and enthusiastic about making changes, which can help them stay committed to their goals. Plus, knowing that millions of other people around the world are also setting goals can be very inspiring.
That's so true, Julia. And I think it's also important to remember that personal growth doesn't have to be perfect. There will be ups and downs along the way, and that's completely normal. What matters most is the effort you put in and the progress you make over time. Even small improvements can add up to big changes if you stay consistent.
Exactly, Adam. So, as you think about personal growth and your goals for the new year, remember to be kind to yourself and celebrate every little success. Whether it's learning a new word in English, taking the first step towards a healthier lifestyle, or simply deciding to try something new, every step counts. The journey of personal growth is all about learning, improving, and becoming a better version of yourself, one day at a time.
Now that we've talked about what personal growth is and why the new year is a great time to focus on it, let's move to the next important part: setting realistic goals. When we think about goals, it's easy to get carried away and aim for something that feels big and exciting. While it's great to dream big, setting realistic goals is key to staying motivated and actually achieving what we set out to do. One of the best ways to do this is by using the SMART goals method.
That's right, Adam. SMART goals are a fantastic framework to help you create goals that are not only inspiring, but also practical and achievable. The word SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's break that down so it's easier to understand and apply. First, your goal needs to be specific. This means it should be clear and detailed, not vague. For example, instead of saying, "I want to learn English," a more specific goal would be, "I want to learn 50 new English words related to travel by March."
Exactly, Julia. Being specific helps you know exactly what you're working toward, and it makes the goal feel more real. Next, your goal should be measurable. This means you should be able to track your progress in a way that lets you know if you're moving forward. For example, If your goal is to learn 50 new words, you can measure your progress by keeping a list of the words you've learned each week. Seeing your progress can be very motivating and can remind you of how far you've come.
That's such an important point, Adam. Now let's talk about the A in SMART, which stands for achievable. When setting goals, it's important to aim for something challenging, but not impossible. For instance, if you've just started learning English, setting a goal to become fluent in 3 months might not be realistic. Instead, you could set a goal to hold a simple conversation in English by the end of 6 months. Achievable goals keep you motivated because they feel within reach, and they prevent you from feeling discouraged.
Absolutely, Julia. The next part is relevant. This means your goal should align with what you truly want to achieve and be meaningful to you. If your main focus is improving your English for work, then your goals should relate to the type of English skills you need for your job, like learning business vocabulary or practicing writing emails. Relevant goals make you feel connected to your purpose and remind you why you're working toward them in the first place.
And finally, we come to time-bound, which means setting a deadline for your goal. Having a clear timeline helps you stay focused and gives you a sense of urgency. For example, if your goal is to learn 50 new words, setting a deadline like by the end of 3 months keeps you on track. Without a timeline, it's easy to procrastinate or lose focus. So, when you create your goals, always ask yourself, by when do I want to achieve this?
That's such a helpful explanation, Julia. Now that we understand what SMART goals are, let's go through a step-by-step process to create achievable New Year's goals. The first step is to take some time to think about what you want to improve or achieve this year. Write down a list of areas where you'd like to grow. It could be your English skills, your health, your relationships, or even your hobbies. Don't worry about making the list perfect. This is just a starting point.
Once you have your list, the second step is to pick 1 or 2 areas that feel most important to you. Trying to focus on too many goals at once can feel overwhelming, so it's better to start with just a few. For example, if improving your English is your top priority, you might choose that as your main goal for the year.
That's a great point, Julia. The third step is to break your goal into smaller, manageable steps. Let's say your goal is to improve your English speaking skills. You could break this into smaller steps like practicing speaking with a language partner for 15 minutes a day, learning 5 new conversation phrases each week, and recording yourself speaking to check your progress. Breaking your goal into steps makes it feel less intimidating and gives you clear actions to focus on.
The fourth step is to write down your goal using the SMART framework. For example, instead of writing, "I want to improve my English," you could write, "I will practice speaking English for 15 minutes every day and learn 20 new phrases by the end of March." Writing your goal in this way makes it clear and actionable, and it reminds you of what you're working toward every time you read it.
And finally, the fifth step is to review your goal regularly. Set aside some time every week to check your progress and make adjustments if needed. If you find that a certain step isn't working for you, don't be afraid to try a different approach. The key is to stay flexible and committed to your goal.
That's such a helpful process, Adam. To make this even clearer for our listeners, let's look at some examples of simple English learning goals for beginners. One example could be, "I will learn 10 new English words every week and practice using them in sentences by writing a short paragraph." Another example could be, "I will watch 1 English video on YouTube every day and write down 3 new phrases I learn."
Those are great examples, Julia. Another goal could be, "I will practice speaking English with a friend or tutor twice a week for 30 minutes each time." These goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, making them easier to stick to.
Exactly, Adam. And remember, the most important thing is to start small and build from there. Even if you only spend 10 minutes a day on your goal, that consistency will add up over time. It's better to make steady progress than to set a goal that feels overwhelming and give up halfway through.
That's so true, Julia. So, to all our listeners out there, take some time after this podcast to think about your own New Year's goals. Use the SMART framework to create a plan that feels right for you, and remember to take it one step at a time.
You've got this. The new year is a perfect opportunity to start fresh and work toward becoming the person you want to be. Just stay focused, stay motivated, and believe in yourself.
Now that we've talked about setting realistic goals using the SMART framework, let's move on to something equally important: creating an action plan. Setting a goal is a great first step, but to achieve that goal, you need a clear roadmap. This roadmap is your action plan, and it helps you know exactly what to do every day, week, or month to move closer to your goal. Without an action plan, even the best goals can feel overwhelming or unattainable.
That's so true, Adam. Many people set New Year's goals with the best intentions, but often feel stuck because they don't know where to start or what to do next. That's where breaking your goals into small, actionable steps becomes incredibly valuable. Let's say your goal is to improve your English speaking skills. If you leave it as just that, a goal, it might feel too big to handle. But if you break it into smaller steps, like practicing speaking for 15 minutes every day, learning 5 new phrases each week, or joining an English conversation group, it suddenly feels manageable and achievable.
Exactly, Julia. Breaking your goals into smaller steps is like climbing a staircase. Instead of trying to jump to the top, you take it one step at a time. Each small step brings you closer to your ultimate goal, and you can celebrate your progress along the way. For example, if your goal is to expand your English vocabulary, your first step might be to pick a specific category, like food, travel, or work-related words. Then, you could set a weekly goal to learn 5 to 10 new words in that category. Once you've mastered those, you can move on to the next category.
That's a great way to look at it, Adam. Another important part of creating an action plan is establishing a routine. Routines help you stay consistent, which is key to achieving any goal. Think about when you're most likely to have free time during the day and plan your activities around that. For instance, if you're a morning person, you might spend 15 minutes each morning practicing English vocabulary or listening to a podcast in English. If you're more focused in the evening, you could dedicate some time before bed to writing a short paragraph or reviewing what you learned that day.
That's such a helpful tip, Julia. A routine doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. The goal is to make it a habit, something you do automatically, like brushing your teeth or checking your phone. Start small, maybe with just 5 or 10 minutes a day, and gradually increase the time as it becomes part of your daily life. For example, you could start by reviewing flashcards with English words during your lunch break, or watching a short video in English while commuting. These small moments add up and make a big difference over time.
Absolutely, Adam. Another important thing to consider when creating an action plan is to write it down. When you put your plan on paper or in a digital planner, it becomes more real and easier to follow. For example, you could create a weekly schedule where each day is dedicated to a specific task. Monday could be for learning new vocabulary, Tuesday for practicing speaking, Wednesday for grammar exercises, Thursday for listening to English podcasts, and so on. Having a clear schedule helps you stay organized and ensures you're covering all areas of improvement.
That's such a practical idea, Julia. And let's not forget the importance of flexibility. Life can be unpredictable, and sometimes you might not be able to stick to your routine perfectly. That's okay. The key is to adapt and get back on track as soon as possible. For instance, if you miss a day of practice, don't feel discouraged. Instead, adjust your plan for the next day and keep going. Consistency doesn't mean being perfect. It means showing up regularly and making progress over time.
Exactly, Adam. Let's give our listeners some examples of daily or weekly routines they can follow. If your goal is to improve your English, here's one example of a simple daily routine. Spend 15 minutes each morning reviewing vocabulary, 10 minutes in the afternoon practicing speaking, and 15 minutes in the evening listening to a podcast or watching a video in English. That's less than an hour a day, but it covers multiple areas of language learning.
And for a weekly routine, you could plan something like this. On Monday, focus on learning new vocabulary. On Tuesday, practice using that vocabulary in sentences. On Wednesday, watch a video or read an article in English related to that vocabulary. On Thursday, practice speaking with a partner or tutor. On Friday, review everything you learned during the week. Saturday could be for writing a short paragraph or essay, and Sunday could be a rest day or a day to set goals for the next week.
Those are great examples, Adam. The key takeaway here is that creating an action plan helps you stay focused and motivated. It gives you a clear path to follow and makes your goals feel achievable, one step at a time. To all our listeners, remember that progress is progress, no matter how small. Every step you take brings you closer to your goal, and that's something to be proud of.
Well said, Julia. So, to sum up, creating an action plan is about breaking your goals into smaller, actionable steps, building a routine that works for you, and staying consistent and flexible. Take some time after this podcast to think about your own action plan for the new year. Write it down, share it with a friend or family member for accountability, and most importantly, stick with it. You've got this. As we approach the final part of our discussion on building a New Year's plan for personal growth, let's talk about a crucial aspect of achieving our goals: staying motivated. Setting goals and creating an action plan are important first steps, but the real challenge lies in staying consistent and motivated throughout the year. It's easy to feel enthusiastic in January, but as the months go by, life can get busy and distractions can creep in. That's why staying motivated is essential to keep yourself on track.
You're absolutely right, Adam. Motivation is like fuel for a car. It keeps you moving forward. But just like a car, we can't rely on one full tank to take us through the entire year. We need to refill our motivation regularly. One of the best ways to stay consistent is to remind yourself why you set your goals in the first place. Take some time to reflect on the deeper reasons behind your goals. For example, if you're learning English, think about how it will improve your career, help you connect with new people, or make traveling more enjoyable. Keeping that bigger picture in mind can be a powerful source of motivation.
That's such a great point, Julia. Another helpful tip is to break your journey into smaller milestones and celebrate your progress along the way. For instance, if your goal is to learn 100 new English words by the end of the year, divide it into monthly or weekly goals. Learning just 10 new words in a week feels much more achievable than thinking about the entire 100. And once you reach that weekly milestone, take a moment to celebrate. Maybe treat yourself to something you enjoy, like watching your favorite movie or eating your favorite snack. Celebrating these small wins can keep you motivated and make the journey more enjoyable.
Exactly, Adam. It's also important to stay connected with others who can support and encourage you. The role of family, friends, and accountability partners can't be underestimated. When you share your goals with someone else, it adds a sense of responsibility. For example, if you tell a friend that you're going to practice speaking English every evening, they might check in with you to see how it's going. Knowing that someone else is rooting for you can be incredibly motivating.
Yes, having accountability partners can make a huge difference. It doesn't have to be a formal setup. Even casually talking to a family member or a friend about your progress can help you stay on track. And if you're learning English, you can join a study group or an online community. Interacting with others who share the same goal can be inspiring. You can exchange tips, share resources, or even have friendly competitions. For example, you could challenge a friend to see who can learn the most new words in a week. A little friendly competition can be a fun way to stay motivated.
That's a fantastic idea, Adam. Another way to stay motivated is to make your progress visible. Create a chart, a journal, or even a digital tracker to record what you've accomplished. For example, if you're practicing English every day, check off each day on a calendar or write down what you learned. Seeing a visual representation of your efforts can be very satisfying and encourage you to keep going. It's like seeing the pieces of a puzzle come together to form a complete picture.
That's so true, Julia. And let's not forget about the importance of positive reinforcement. Often, we're our own harshest critics, focusing on what we didn't do rather than celebrating what we did. Instead of thinking, "I only practiced English for 10 minutes today," shift your mindset to, "I practiced English today, and that's progress." Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step closer to your goal. Being kind to yourself and recognizing your efforts can go a long way in keeping your motivation high.
Absolutely, Adam. Motivation can also come from mixing things up and keeping your learning experience exciting. If you're learning English, don't just stick to one method. Try watching English movies, listening to podcasts, reading short stories, or playing language games. Variety not only makes learning fun, but also helps you stay engaged. When you look forward to your daily or weekly practice, staying consistent becomes much easier.
That's a great tip, Julia. And finally, let's talk about the power of gratitude. Sometimes, we get so focused on what we haven't achieved that we forget to appreciate how far we've come. Taking a moment to reflect on your progress and be grateful for the opportunities you have can boost your mood and reignite your motivation. For example, if you've learned 50 new words in English, think about how much more you can express yourself now compared to before. Gratitude helps you see the positive side of your journey and keeps you inspired to continue.
So, to all our listeners, staying motivated is about keeping your goals visible, celebrating your progress, surrounding yourself with supportive people, and mixing up your routines to keep things interesting. And remember, it's okay to have ups and downs. The key is to stay committed and keep moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time.
That's right, Julia. Motivation isn't something that magically appears. It's something we create through our actions, mindset, and the people we surround ourselves with. As you work on your New Year's plan for personal growth, take these tips to heart and use them to keep yourself inspired throughout the year. You've got this. As we come to the final section of our podcast, let's dive into a topic that everyone can relate to: overcoming challenges. When we set goals, especially for personal growth, the road is rarely smooth. There are always bumps and hurdles along the way, and that's completely normal. Whether it's procrastination, a busy schedule, or simply losing momentum, challenges are a part of the journey. What's important is how we face these challenges and find ways to keep going, even when things get tough.
Exactly, Adam. Let's start with one of the most common challenges: procrastination. How many times have we said, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'll do it later"? Procrastination is the thief of progress, and it can creep in without us even realizing it. For example, if your goal is to learn English, you might keep postponing your practice because it feels like there's always something more urgent to do. The key to overcoming procrastination is to remind yourself of the long-term benefits of your goal. Ask yourself, if I delay today, how will it affect my progress tomorrow? Sometimes, taking that first step, even if it's small, is enough to break the cycle of procrastination.
That's such a good point, Julia. Another challenge many people face is a lack of time. In today's busy world, it feels like there's never enough time for everything we want to do. Between work, family, and other responsibilities, Finding time for personal growth can feel impossible. But the truth is, it's not about having time. It's about making time. For instance, if you're learning English, you don't need to set aside hours every day. Even 15 minutes of focused practice can make a difference. Use your commute to listen to English podcasts, practice vocabulary during lunch breaks, or read a short article before bed. Small, consistent efforts add up over time.
That's so true, Adam. And here's another tip. Use tools to help you stay organized. A planner, a to-do list, or even an app can help you prioritize your goals and fit them into your daily schedule. For example, if you're trying to improve your English, you can schedule specific times for listening, reading, or speaking practice. When you plan ahead, it's easier to make your goals a priority rather than an afterthought.
Absolutely, Julia. Another challenge people face is the fear of failure. Sometimes we avoid starting or give up because we're afraid of making mistakes or not being good enough. But failure is a natural part of the learning process. If you're learning English, you might mispronounce a word or struggle with grammar, and that's okay. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and grow. Instead of focusing on perfection, focus on progress. Celebrate the effort you're putting in and recognize that every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal.
Exactly, Adam. And let's not forget the challenge of staying motivated, especially when progress feels slow. It's easy to feel discouraged when you don't see immediate results. That's why it's important to remind yourself of your why. Why did you set this goal? Why is it important to you? Keeping your why at the forefront of your mind can help you push through difficult times. For example, if you're learning English, think about how it will help you in your career, improve your confidence, or make travel easier.
That's such an important reminder, Julia. And for those moments when you feel like giving up, remember that it's okay to take a step back and recharge. Rest is not the same as quitting. Sometimes a short break can give you the energy and perspective you need to move forward. And if you do miss a day or two of practice, don't be too hard on yourself. The key is to pick up where you left off and keep going. Progress is not about being perfect every day. It's about being consistent over time.
Exactly, Adam. And for anyone who feels overwhelmed by challenges, don't forget that you're not alone. Reach out to friends, family, or even a mentor for support. Sharing your struggles can lighten the load and give you new ideas for overcoming them. If you're learning English, consider joining a study group or finding a language partner. Sometimes just knowing that others are facing similar challenges can be incredibly comforting. Beautifully said, Adam. To all our listeners, we believe in you. Challenges are just opportunities in disguise. With determination, a clear plan, and the right mindset, you can achieve amazing things. Keep going, stay positive, and trust the process.
All right, now that we've discussed how to overcome challenges and stay motivated, let's move into an area that can really help support your journey. Tools and resources for personal growth. Whether you're focused on learning English, improving your health, building confidence, or any other aspect of personal development, having the right tools can make a huge difference. In today's digital world, there's an endless list of apps, websites, and books that can help guide you towards your goals. The trick is knowing which ones to use.
Exactly, Adam. And let's start with something that's incredibly useful for anyone learning English: language learning apps. There are so many options out there, and some of them are really great at helping you build your skills in a structured way. One of the most popular apps is Duolingo. It's simple, user-friendly, and offers bite-sized lessons that you can fit into even the busiest schedules. The app allows you to practice vocabulary, grammar, reading, writing, and even speaking. Plus, it's gamified, so you can track your progress and feel motivated to keep going. It's a great way to get started if you're a beginner and looking to practice every day.
Absolutely, Julia. Duolingo is a fantastic resource for beginners. But if you're looking for something a bit more comprehensive, Babbel is another app that's worth checking out. Babbel offers a more structured approach with lessons that focus on real-world conversations. The app provides you with the tools to learn vocabulary that's directly applicable to your daily life, which is incredibly helpful when you're trying to make learning English practical and relevant. But it's not just about apps, right? There are some excellent websites that can also help you learn English or grow in other areas. One of my favorites is BBC Learning English. It offers free resources like videos, quizzes, and audio lessons, which are perfect for improving your listening and comprehension skills. You can even find special sections dedicated to grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, areas that many learners find tricky.
I love BBC Learning English too. It's such a reliable website with high-quality content. Now, for those of you who prefer learning through videos, another great resource is YouTube. There are countless channels dedicated to helping people learn English. One that I recommend is English with Lucy. She's a very engaging teacher who covers everything from vocabulary lessons to pronunciation tips. Her videos are clear, easy to follow, and great for anyone at the beginner or intermediate level. It's a fantastic way to keep your learning fresh and dynamic. But learning isn't just about using apps and websites. Sometimes, the best resource is a good book. A book can guide you, provide structure, and give you deep insights into the subject you're studying. For English learners, a book like English Grammar in Use by Raymond Murphy is a classic. This book is widely recognized and offers clear explanations and exercises that can help you strengthen your grammar skills. Whether you're a beginner or more advanced, it's a resource that will stay with you as you continue your learning journey.
I totally agree, Julia. Books can be incredibly valuable for deepening your understanding. And speaking of books, another great one for personal development in general is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book is a powerful resource when it comes to making lasting changes in your life. James Clear breaks down the science of habits and gives practical advice on how to build good habits and break bad ones. If you're looking to improve yourself, especially when it comes to consistency and working towards your goals, this book is a must-read. It's about making small, manageable changes that lead to big results over time. This concept ties into personal growth perfectly, especially as we enter the new year.
I love Atomic Habits. It's such an insightful book. But if you're looking for more resources to focus specifically on learning English, I'd also recommend Fluent Forever by Gabriel Weiner. This book offers a fresh approach to learning languages and focuses heavily on pronunciation, memory, and using visual learning techniques. It's a bit different from traditional methods, but many learners have found it to be an effective and unique way to retain new vocabulary and grammar.
That sounds like an amazing book. You know, Julia, it's also important to mention the value of podcasts and online communities in today's world. There are some fantastic podcasts out there that can help you grow personally and improve your English. Of course, we would recommend the English Globe, which you're already listening to. We focus on a variety of topics to help you learn English in real-life contexts, from grammar tips to cultural insights, and we also share inspiring stories that can motivate you to keep going. In addition to the English Globe, there's also The English We Speak, which is a great podcast from the BBC that introduces English phrases and expressions used in daily conversations. It's a fantastic way to build up your vocabulary and get a feel for how native speakers talk.
Yes, podcasts are such a wonderful way to learn because you can listen while doing other things, whether you're commuting, cleaning, or working out. Another podcast I'd recommend is Luke's English Podcast. It's perfect for learners of all levels. Luke talks about everything from vocabulary and grammar to British culture, making it a fun and informative way to improve your English comprehension. But beyond podcasts, online communities are also a great way to stay motivated. Joining platforms like Reddit, specifically the r/English learning community, can be an amazing way to connect with other learners. You can ask questions, share your progress, and get advice from people who are going through the same challenges. If you prefer social media, Facebook groups dedicated to English learners or even LinkedIn groups can be helpful as well. These communities are filled with people who are motivated to learn just like you, so it's a great place for support, encouragement, and even some friendly competition.
Such great suggestions, Julia. And for those of you who prefer structured learning with personalized feedback, there are also many online courses that can help you advance your English skills. Websites like Coursera or Udemy offer a variety of courses for learners at different levels. Some courses even allow you to interact with instructors and other students, providing a more immersive experience. You can learn at your own pace and focus on areas you want to improve, whether it's speaking, writing, or listening.
Absolutely. There's really no shortage of resources, and the key is to find the ones that work best for your personal learning style. If you prefer reading and working through exercises, books and websites might be your best bet. If you enjoy listening and learning on the go, podcasts and apps are fantastic options. And if you're looking for a mix of everything, online courses might be the way to go.
And let's not forget that the most important resource is you. The effort, dedication, and time you put into your personal growth are what will ultimately lead to success. So don't be afraid to experiment with different tools, mix and match resources, and most importantly, keep moving forward.
That's right, Adam. Whatever resources you choose to use, remember that consistency is key. Even on the days when it feels like progress is slow, trust that every little bit of effort is adding up. The tools are there to support you, but your commitment to growth is what will make the real difference.
Now that we've discussed how to set goals, create action plans, stay motivated, and overcome challenges, we're moving into an equally important part of personal growth: evaluating your progress and adjusting your plan. Personal growth is not just about setting goals and following a plan. It's about being flexible and open to change as you go along. Sometimes the best way to achieve your goals is by adapting them as you learn and grow.
Exactly, Adam. It's easy to get excited about a goal when you first set it, but as time passes, you might find that your interests shift, or perhaps life throws some unexpected challenges your way. This is completely normal, and it's important to understand that personal growth is a dynamic, ongoing process. If your plan isn't working as you thought, it's okay to adjust it. In fact, it's one of the best ways to ensure you stay on track and keep moving forward.
That's a great point, Julia. Now let's break down how we can effectively evaluate our progress. The first thing you want to do is regularly review your goals. This doesn't have to be something you do every day, but it's really helpful to check in with your plan at least once a month. Take some time to ask yourself, am I making progress? Are the steps I've been taking working for me? Have I achieved the small goals I set along the way? This self-reflection helps you see what's working and what might need to be adjusted.
And it's important to be honest with yourself during this evaluation. Sometimes we avoid this step because we don't want to admit that we might not be where we wanted to be. But remember, personal growth isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Even if you're not hitting all your goals exactly as planned, the key is to recognize the small victories. Have you improved in certain areas? Have you learned something new? Are you closer to your goal than you were before? Celebrate those wins.
Yes, celebrating small wins is so important because it builds your motivation to keep going. When you look at your progress, no matter how small, it reminds you that you're moving forward even if it doesn't always feel like it. Now, after evaluating your progress, the next step is making adjustments to your plan if needed. This could mean altering your timelines, changing your approach, or even revising your goal to better match where you are now.
Let's go back to an example we mentioned earlier. learning English. If your original goal was to learn 100 new words by the end of the month, but you realize you've been struggling to even remember 30, it might be time to adjust your goal. Instead of giving up, try shifting your focus to learning 30 words more deeply, using them in sentences and conversations. Or perhaps give yourself more time to hit the original goal by extending the timeline. The idea is to remain flexible and realistic as your needs and circumstances evolve.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to seek feedback during this process. Sometimes we're too close to our own goals to see them clearly, and that's where friends, family, or even accountability partners come in. They can provide valuable insights about whether your approach is working or if adjustments are needed. So, if you're feeling stuck, talk to someone you trust. Sometimes an outside perspective can give you the clarity you need to move forward.
Speaking of support, having a group or community to help track your progress is also incredibly valuable. Whether it's a group of friends, a study buddy, or even an online community, sharing your progress and challenges with others can keep you accountable. It can also help you stay motivated, knowing that there are people rooting for you.
That's such an important point. And finally, remember that setbacks happen, and they are a part of the process. If you find that you've fallen behind or didn't quite hit your goal, it's not the end of the road. It's an opportunity to learn. Ask yourself, what went wrong? What can I do differently? Reflecting on these questions can help you adjust and move forward with a renewed perspective.
Absolutely. The key is to never give up on your goal, even if it takes longer than expected or doesn't go exactly as planned. Life is full of unexpected twists, and personal growth is all about learning to adapt to those changes. So, evaluate your progress regularly, be honest with yourself, celebrate the small victories, and make adjustments as necessary. This is how you keep growing and moving toward your best self, one step at a time.
So, as we wrap up this section, remember that evaluating your progress and adjusting your plan isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign of maturity. It shows that you are committed to your growth and that you're willing to keep refining your plan to make it work for you. Personal growth is a journey, not a race, and it's important to be patient with yourself. You'll get there, one step at a time.
Exactly. So, take some time this week to reflect on your goals, evaluate your progress, and make any adjustments if needed. The journey toward personal growth is filled with learning experiences, and as long as you stay committed, you'll continue to make progress. We believe in you.
We're so glad you're still with us as we continue our journey into building a successful New Year's plan for personal growth. Now, we've discussed how to set goals, create action plans, stay motivated, and evaluate your progress. But today, we're going to talk about something equally important: building a strong support system that can help you along the way. Personal growth is not a journey that you have to take alone. In fact, having the right support can make a huge difference in your ability to succeed and stay motivated.
That's right, Adam. It's often said that it takes a village to accomplish great things, and that saying rings true for personal growth too. The people you surround yourself with can have a major influence on how you feel about your goals and how well you progress toward them. Your support system doesn't just provide encouragement, they also offer valuable insights, guidance, and sometimes even a much-needed push when you feel like giving up. The power of connection and community cannot be underestimated.
Let's break this down a little further. One of the first steps in building a strong support system is identifying who you can turn to. This might include family, friends, colleagues, or even mentors. These are the people who understand your goals and can offer both emotional and practical support. For instance, if you're working on learning English, having a friend or family member who checks in on your progress can help keep you accountable. But it's not just about having someone to check up on you. It's about creating relationships that foster growth and positivity.
Exactly. Think about your personal relationships and the people who truly support and uplift you. Maybe it's a family member who is always encouraging you to do your best. Or perhaps it's a colleague at work who shares similar goals. These people play a crucial role because they remind you that you're not alone in your journey. Sometimes when we feel overwhelmed, it's easy to think that we're the only ones struggling. But when you have a strong support system, you quickly realize that everyone faces challenges. And you also learn that it's okay to ask for help when you need it.
And that brings us to another important point: communication. When you're working toward your goals, it's important to communicate your needs clearly with the people in your support system. If you need help staying on track with your English learning, let your support network know. Be specific. For example, you might say, "I need someone to remind me to practice every day," or "I'm struggling with motivation. Can we talk about my progress once a week?" The clearer you are, the easier it is for those around you to help you in a way that truly benefits you.
Yes, it's all about setting expectations. Your support system can only help if they know what kind of support you need. Sometimes, people want to help, but they don't know how. So, being open and specific about your needs is essential. Now, let's talk about mentors. A mentor is someone who has experience in the area you want to grow in and can offer guidance based on their own experiences. If you're learning English, for example, having a mentor who is fluent in English can be incredibly valuable. They can provide you with feedback, tips, and even real-world examples of how to use the language effectively.
That's a great point, Julia. Mentors not only help you navigate challenges, but also inspire you. When you see someone who has achieved what you're striving for, it gives you a tangible example of what's possible. A mentor can serve as both a guide and a source of motivation. They've already walked the path you're on, so they can offer invaluable advice and encouragement. But mentorship doesn't just have to be one-on-one. It can also come in the form of online communities or professional groups. The key is to seek out people who have the experience you need and who genuinely care about your growth.
Along with mentors, having accountability partners is also extremely helpful. An accountability partner is someone who checks in on you regularly to see how you're doing with your goals. This could be a friend, a colleague, or even a fellow English learner who is working on similar goals. An accountability partner doesn't just remind you to stay on track. They also provide you with that extra push when you're feeling unmotivated or frustrated. Knowing that someone else is rooting for you and expecting you to show up can make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. And if you don't already have an accountability partner, don't worry. You can find one through social media groups, online learning communities, or even by simply asking a friend or family member to join you on your journey. The key is to choose someone who is committed, reliable, and willing to give you honest feedback. As you share your progress with them, they'll celebrate your victories with you and help you brainstorm solutions when you hit roadblocks. Having that sense of shared responsibility can make staying motivated a lot easier.
And remember, Adam, it's important to surround yourself with people who encourage you to push your limits. If you find that certain individuals are not supportive or are negative about your goals, it might be time to reconsider their role in your support system. You need people who believe in your potential and who challenge you in positive ways. Sometimes you may have to make tough decisions about who you allow into your inner circle, but ultimately, the people you keep close should be those who inspire you to be the best version of yourself.
That's so true, Julia. Now let's not forget about celebrating your support system too. When people help you reach your goals, it's important to acknowledge their role in your success. Whether it's a thank you message, a small gesture of appreciation, or simply sharing your progress with them, showing gratitude goes a long way. When you build a strong support system, you're not just relying on others. You're also creating a network of trust and respect that can benefit everyone involved.
So, as we wrap up this section, take a moment to think about the people who could be part of your support system. Who can you turn to for encouragement? Who can challenge you to grow? And most importantly, how can you support them in return? Building a strong support system isn't just about receiving help, it's also about giving it. Together, you and your support network can help each other achieve your personal growth goals. It's a beautiful cycle of giving, receiving, and growing together.
Exactly, Julia. Personal growth is not just an individual pursuit. It's a journey that can be made richer when you have people by your side. So, as you set your New Year's goals, think about who will be in your corner. Choose wisely, communicate openly, and don't be afraid to lean on your support system when you need it. You don't have to do it alone. We believe that with the right people supporting you, you can achieve anything. As we continue our deep dive into building a successful New Year's plan for personal growth, let's talk about a practice that is often overlooked but is absolutely essential: self-reflection. When we think about growth, we often focus on setting goals and achieving milestones. But how often do we take the time to pause, look back, and truly evaluate how far we've come? Self-reflection is the key to understanding not only your successes, but also the areas where you can improve. It's about being honest with yourself and using that honesty as a tool to guide your future actions.
That's a great point, Adam. Self-reflection isn't just about thinking, it's about intentional thinking. It's the process of looking inward and asking yourself meaningful questions about your progress, your challenges, and your motivations. For example, if your goal is to learn English, self-reflection might involve asking yourself, how consistent have I been with my practice? What methods are working best for me? Are there any habits I need to change to improve? These are not surface-level questions. They require you to dig deep and truly analyze your behavior and its outcomes.
Exactly, Julia. And one of the best times to practice self-reflection is at the end of the day or week. Setting aside even 10 to 15 minutes to think about your actions can provide incredible insights. You can use this time to ask yourself what you did well, what you struggled with, and what you can do differently moving forward. For example, if you plan to practice English for 15 minutes a day, but found yourself skipping a few days, self-reflection can help you identify the reasons behind that. Maybe you were tired, or perhaps you didn't schedule a specific time for practice. Once you understand the why, it becomes much easier to find solutions.
Absolutely, Adam. And speaking of solutions, one effective way to enhance self-reflection is by keeping a journal. Writing down your thoughts, feelings, and progress can make your reflections more tangible. When you write, you're not just thinking, you're documenting your journey in a way that allows you to revisit and learn from it. A journal can be as simple as jotting down a few bullet points about your day, or as detailed as writing paragraphs about your experiences. The key is to be honest and specific. For example, instead of writing, "I practiced English today," you might write, "I practiced English for 15 minutes today by watching a YouTube video. I learned 5 new words, but I struggled with pronunciation."
I love that idea, Julia. Journaling is such a powerful tool because it allows you to track your growth over time. Imagine looking back after 6 months and seeing how much you've improved. It's not just motivating, it's also a reminder of your capability to grow and adapt. But self-reflection isn't just about looking back. It's also about looking forward. Once you've identified your strengths and areas for improvement, the next step is to plan how you'll address them. For example, if you realize that you're struggling with consistency, you might decide to set reminders on your phone or create a more structured routine.
And let's not forget that self-reflection isn't always easy. It requires you to confront your mistakes and acknowledge your weaknesses, which can be uncomfortable. But remember, growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It's through this discomfort that you learn and evolve. When you reflect on your challenges, try to approach them with kindness and curiosity instead of judgment. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Rather than, why did I fail? This shift in perspective can make self-reflection a more positive and empowering process.
That's such an important point, Julia. Self-reflection is not about being hard on yourself. It's about learning from your experiences and using that knowledge to grow. It's a practice that teaches you resilience because it encourages you to view setbacks as opportunities rather than obstacles. For instance, if you set a goal to learn 5 new English words each week but only managed to learn 3, self-reflection allows you to explore why that happened without feeling defeated. Maybe your goal was too ambitious, or perhaps you didn't allocate enough time for studying. Either way, self-reflection helps you adjust your approach and move forward with a clearer understanding.
And self-reflection isn't something you have to do alone. Sometimes discussing your thoughts with someone else can provide new perspectives and ideas. This could be a mentor, a friend, or even a family member who understands your goals. For example, if you're learning English, talking to a fluent speaker about your challenges can give you insights that you might not have considered. They might suggest resources, techniques, or even share their own experiences of learning a new language. Collaborative reflection can be incredibly enriching because it combines your self-awareness with external perspectives.
That's so true, Julia. And another powerful aspect of self-reflection is celebrating your progress. It's easy to focus on what you haven't achieved yet, but it's equally important to acknowledge your victories, no matter how small they might seem. If you've been practicing English consistently for a month, that's a huge accomplishment. Take the time to celebrate it. Maybe treat yourself to something you enjoy, or simply take a moment to feel proud of your effort. Celebrating small wins not only boosts your confidence, but also reinforces the positive habits you're building.
Yes, Adam. Celebrating progress is a wonderful way to stay motivated. And as we think about self-reflection, let's also consider how it connects to the bigger picture of personal growth. Every time you reflect, you're taking a step closer to understanding yourself better. You're learning what works for you, what doesn't, and how you can improve. Over time, these small moments of reflection add up to significant growth. It's like planting seeds. Each reflection is a seed that, with time and care, grows into something beautiful and meaningful.
Well said, Julia. So, to our listeners, we encourage you to make self-reflection a regular part of your New Year's plan. It doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. Start small. Maybe spend 5 minutes at the end of each day thinking about what you did well and what you can improve. Over time, you'll find that self-reflection becomes a habit, and this habit will play a crucial role in your journey of personal growth. Remember, growth isn't just about reaching your goals. It's about learning, adapting, and becoming the best version of yourself along the way.
That's beautifully put, Adam. So, as you work on your New Year's goals, take the time to pause, reflect, and celebrate your progress. Use self-reflection as a tool to guide you, motivate you, and help you overcome challenges. It's a practice that will not only make your journey more meaningful, but also ensure that your growth is truly sustainable. And remember, we're here to support you every step of the way.
Well, Julia, I think we've covered a lot of important information in today's podcast, haven't we? We've discussed how to plan for personal growth in the new year, starting from understanding what personal growth really means, all the way to staying motivated and overcoming the challenges that come with it. If our listeners have been following along, they now have a strong foundation to create their own plans for growth this year.
Absolutely, Adam. We've unpacked the entire process of setting realistic goals, breaking them down into actionable steps, and building routines to ensure consistency. We also talked about the importance of staying motivated, whether that's by having an accountability partner or simply celebrating the small wins along the way. And of course, we've highlighted some fantastic tools and resources, from apps and books to online communities, that can help you along the way. There's really no shortage of ways to support your personal development.
And let's not forget the most important part. It all starts with you. You are the key player in your own journey towards growth and success. As we approach the new year, we hope that today's episode has given you the encouragement and the tools to take action. It doesn't matter if you're focusing on learning English, building your confidence, improving your health, or working on any other area of your life. What matters is that you make the decision to start, no matter how big or small the steps may be.
That's so true, Adam. I know that sometimes starting something new can feel overwhelming, but remember, growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. It's about making small, consistent efforts every day. So don't feel the pressure to get everything right immediately. It's okay to make mistakes. What's important is that you keep going even when it gets tough. The new year is the perfect time to start fresh, but any day can be a good day to begin working toward your goals.
Absolutely, Julia. And I want to encourage all of our listeners to take a moment right now, whether you're listening to this podcast on New Year's Eve or on a random day during the year, to think about one goal, just one goal, that you want to focus on this year. It could be anything from improving your English, to building your physical health, to becoming more confident. Make it a goal that excites you, something that you genuinely want to achieve. Once you have that goal in mind, start making a plan. Break it down into manageable steps, set a timeline, and get moving. The time to start is now.
And if you haven't made your New Year's plan yet, there's no need to worry. The new year is just a marker on the calendar, but you don't have to wait for it to make changes. Every day is an opportunity to work towards the person you want to be. So, if you're listening to this a little later in the year, don't feel like you've missed your chance. The most important thing is to take that first step, no matter when it happens.
Yes. And if you'd like to share your goals with us, we'd love to hear from you. You can share them with us in the comments section below the podcast or even on our social media pages. Let us know what goals you've set for yourself in this new year. Whether they're small, big, personal, or professional, let's get the conversation going and encourage each other to take action.
We'd really love to hear your thoughts and goals, so please don't hesitate to share. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Everyone listening to this podcast is working towards their personal growth, and we're all here to support each other.
Before we wrap up, we just want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. We know that there are so many things you could be doing, and we're grateful that you chose to spend this time with us. Personal growth is an ongoing journey, and we're honored to be part of yours.
Thank you so much for listening, and remember, every day is a new opportunity to work towards your goals. Start small, stay consistent, and celebrate every step of progress, no matter how big or small. We wish you all the best of luck with your personal growth journey in the new year and beyond.
We're excited to be on this journey with you, and we hope that you'll continue to join us for more episodes of The English Globe. Keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself.
Take care, everyone, and don't forget to make your plan for personal growth today. We'll be back soon with more episodes filled with tips, advice, and stories to help you achieve your goals. Until next time, goodbye.